Life can collapse in an instant, like a carefully built tower toppled by a single misstep. One moment, everything feels secure, unshakable. The next, it's reduced to fragments. Here I am at 32, sitting in the bedroom of my adolescence in my parents' Dallas home, surrounded by relics of my younger self. Worn posters of bands long forgotten, a desk cluttered with mementos I barely recognize. A dry, bitter laugh slips out as I take in the irony. I'm Olivia, and this is not the life I pictured. I never imagined I'd be back in this room, sifting through old memories while wrestling with the decisions that brought me here. It all started with Daniel. We met at a housewarming party hosted by my friend Rachel, who'd just settled into a quaint picture-perfect townhouse, the kind I'd always dreamed of calling my own. As I crossed the threshold, a twinge of jealousy struck. It wasn't just the elegant decor or the inviting warmth of her space. It was her entire life. Rachel had a flourishing career, a devoted fiancé, a future so clearly defined. And me? Still unattached, worn out from the endless cycle of dating apps and fleeting conversations, wondering if anyone would ever truly understand me. Then I saw him. Daniel stood out, tall with dark hair, radiating a quiet confidence that drew people in. But it wasn't his presence that captivated me. It was his attention, the way he listened with genuine focus, not just waiting for his turn to speak. We talked for hours that night, and for the first time in forever, a flicker of hope ignited inside me. Maybe, just maybe, I'd found someone who wouldn't leave. For a while, Daniel was everything I'd longed for, compassionate, caring, undeniably kind. With him, I felt a stability I'd never known before. Our relationship blossomed quickly, but it felt effortless, organic. Within a year, he knelt and proposed. A year later, we stood at the altar, exchanging vows. It was everything I thought I desired, loving, dependable, grounded. But that very dependability became the thing I questioned. Somewhere along the way, I stopped valuing it. I stopped seeing him. His steady patience began to feel dull. Small gestures of affection, like tucking notes into my bag or remembering exactly how I took my coffee, started to seem routine, not heartfelt. He wasn't one for spontaneous escapades or grand declarations of love. He was the man who showed up, day in and day out, without hesitation. And instead of cherishing that, I let doubt take root. Had I chosen security over passion, opted for safety instead of spark? At first, the uncertainties were faint whispers, but they swelled into a storm I couldn't silence. It all unraveled one night at a dinner party, an intimate gathering with close friends, good food and flowing wine. The conversation shifted to love, debating whether it's a matter of destiny or circumstance. Someone asked how you know you've chosen the right partner. Without thinking, I let out a laugh and said, honestly, if I could do it over, I might not have married Daniel. The room froze. Laughter faded, voices stumbled. My stomach dropped as I looked at him. Daniel sat still, his expression unreadable, his fingers tightening around his wine glass. Well, he said quietly, his voice sharp enough to cut through the silence. Good to know. Panic flooded me. I tried to retract my words, to dismiss it as a poorly timed jest, but the wound was already inflicted. His eyes had changed, once warm and open, now cold and distant. He didn't shout or argue. That night, he simply went to bed without another word. I told myself we'd work it out in the morning, that he'd forgive me as he always did. But when I woke, his side of the bed was empty. His clothes were gone, his toothbrush vanished. On the nightstand lay the cruelest reminder. His wedding band, carefully placed beside a photo from our honeymoon. I stared at it, numb, trying to comprehend the emptiness that had settled in. I called, but he didn't answer. I texted, but no reply came. I clung to the hope that he just needed time, that he'd return once the hurt subsided. But days turned into weeks, then a month. That's when it sank in. He wasn't coming back. What stung most wasn't just his absence. It was how easily he seemed to move forward. While I was drowning in sorrow and regret, Daniel was already forging ahead. One afternoon, while wandering downtown, I saw him at an outdoor cafe, smiling, laughing, sitting across from a woman who was everything I wasn't, graceful, self-assured, radiant. She had a quiet strength that didn't demand attention. And Daniel looked at her the way he used to look at me, like she was his entire world. A wave of emotions crashed over me. I wanted to rush to him, to beg him to remember what we had, to plead for another chance. But I didn't. Deep down, I knew he was gone. Worse, I realized I'd never truly deserved him. Regret isn't a loud thing. It's a silent, creeping weight, seeping into every part of your life until you wake up and see you've shattered something precious. I had something extraordinary and let it slip through my fingers, too preoccupied with what I thought I was missing. Daniel didn't leave because he stopped loving me. He left because he finally saw I'd never love him the way he deserved. Now alone in my childhood bedroom, surrounded by fragments of a past life, I'm suffocating under the weight of my choices, wondering how I let it all fall apart. They say you don't know what you have until it's gone. Sometimes that's not true. Sometimes you know exactly what you have. You just never believe it could disappear.